We greatly, greatly appreciate what you do for our city and for a lot of citizens who I will never meet or anybody else on the council will ever meet or talk to. You are, in some of their lives, the only interaction they have with our city. And so you are the front line, the first and sometimes last impression that people have of the city of Lewisville. And I'm constantly complimented on your performance from the people that you protect and serve every day. Can't thank you enough. I've done my best my years on the council to make it a priority to take care of our officers, both in the police and the fire department, to make sure that you always have what you need to do your job the best that you possibly can, and you've never ceased to make that a wise investment.
Okay, so we'll jump right to it. Start off, I would like to make some announcements about Perfect Attendance Awards. And let me talk a little bit about perfect attendance. You know, it's difficult enough in any kind of job just to be there day in and day out, and especially in public safety, you know, for folks to just day in and day out to come to work and be there and do it for us every year is just amazing. So, Lieutenant Chris Butterworth, his 4th year in a row. Detention Supervisor Brett Carlson, his 3rd year to receive the award. Officer Johnny Copley Jr., his 2nd year to receive that award. Officer Richard Elledge, his 2nd year to receive the award. Detention Officer David Fullajuice, his 1st year. Officer Peter Gardner. Lieutenant Scott Haynes, his 12th year. Officer Ricky Jones, I saw him earlier. Ricky. Sergeant Chris Kemp. Sergeant. Officer Shane Menz. Lieutenant Michael Moore, his 7th year. And another 7th year to get it, Sergeant Kenneth Nafziger. Naff. And rounding out the 7th year awardees, David Porter, 7th year in a row to get it. Officer Robert Butch Steinley, his 5th year to receive that award. Officer Matson Tibergin. Officer Travis Wallace, 2nd year to get it. And his 4th year to receive this award, Officer Jonathan Walk. Everybody has to show proficiency in their firearm. Everybody has to qualify each and every year to meet our state licensing guidelines. But then we have an extra course that if you want to put in for that, you have to shoot near perfect to get this award. So Officer Wardell Carabee, I'm sorry. Officer Cheng Chi, Officer Robert Lee Jr., Officer Jonmichael Martinez, I know he's here. I just saw him come in, Detective Scott Austin, Perfect Attendance Award. The other thing that's kind of interesting about public safety, and I don't know why it is that we attract, well, I guess I kind of do know why we attract people like this that are willing to do things in their off time to help benefit their community and the world that we live in. We have a number of folks who serve in various military reserve units, and typically just throughout the year, somebody will get called up to active duty. We always like to try to recognize them at this award ceremony. We had one individual last year who was called up from August 5th through August the 4th, Officer Jeff Darlington. I don't think Jeff is with us today, but there he is. See, that's the hazard of hiding in the back. Anyway, that's Jeff back in the back. It's amazing that they'll put themselves in harm's way both at the police department and working for our military. So we appreciate the sacrifice that those guys do. Those of you who are from the Lewisville area might remember that back on Easter Sunday, we had a very tragic incident occur in Lewisville where a family was devastated by a drunk driver. Killed 2 members of that family, put several others in the hospital for weeks and months of recovery. Recently had the trial, and I was somewhat familiar that we had folks that stopped to help while our firefighters and law enforcement officers showed up on scene. But I did not know to what degree that was until I sat through the trial and heard these 2 ladies that I'm about to introduce you to talk about their experiences and what they went through that day. I know they helped save some lives that day that were in that car, and really were a great aid to that family that was involved in that tragedy. So I'd like to ask Larissa Cawley and Aaron Causey to come forward. The certificate of appreciation presented to Larissa Cawley and to Aaron Causey for assisting the Lewisville Police Department with a major accident on Easter morning, April 4th, 2010. That morning, you stopped to render aid to a family that you had never met. An intoxicated driver had just struck their vehicle on Interstate I-35. The entire family of 5 was trapped inside their car. You noticed that there were 3 children trapped in the back seat of the car, and you comforted them. You stayed with the children as firefighters dismantled the vehicle around them. Once the children were transported to the hospital in Dallas, you drove family members who had witnessed the crash to the hospital, and you stayed with them throughout that ordeal while their other family members could arrive. Your testimony at trial was instrumental in obtaining 2 life sentences for the suspect for murder. Thank you for your willingness to get involved and for assisting strangers in their time of need. Presented this 3rd day of February, 2011. Okay, as part of our process for awards each and every year, in each quarter, we recognize a police officer and a civilian of the quarter. And these awards are given out throughout the year as that quarter ends and those nominations are made. Coincidentally, for all of our awards, whether it's a quarterly award or a yearly award, supervisors are required to make those nominations to us on a regular basis. And then any employee that's with the City of Lewisville or the Lewisville Police Department can make that nomination. Officer of the Quarter for 2010 was Schnequa Guy, and Civilian of the Quarter was Detention Officer Giovanni Velez. Officer of the Second Quarter was Marni Hull. Civilian of the Second Quarter was Elizabeth Knight. Officer of the Third Quarter was Martin Popick. Civilian of the Third Quarter was Detention Officer Gloria Hardin. And Officer of the Fourth Quarter was Jonmichael Martinez. And Civilian of the Quarter was Detention Officer Jacob Brown-Parrish. If any of you are present, would you please stand so we can recognize you? I know Jonmichael's here. So let's jump right here into the yearly awards. The first award is going to be to the Civilian of the Year. That person is in this room. Elizabeth Mays, our Civilian of the Year. Elizabeth does some outstanding work for us. She's our crime data technician, and the go-to person. The second person on my speed dial is Elizabeth Mays to ask questions about our crime data and things that are going on. Usually I read all these little different bullet things that people nominated. I'm just going to read a few here just for brevity of time. As a crime analyst, she compiles the numbers for each CompStat meeting and prepares a professional-looking PowerPoint presentation for supervisors to review. Elizabeth is a critical link in making sure our reports are correct and submitted in accordance with the Uniform Crime Report and the NIBRS reports, also a National Incident-Based Report. When asked for information on crime trends and statistics, it's amazing how quickly she gathers the information. I think she has it already done up, and she just waits like 5 or 10 minutes and then calls me and says, yeah, here it is, She takes the time to help find and disseminate statistics to all supervisors in the department. She will even create new reports to accommodate the needs of individuals. Getting these breakdowns is very helpful and critical in many cases. She displays great potential for additional responsibilities and should be groomed for a leadership role in the department. I couldn't agree more. I personally want to commend you for your outstanding work this past year, Elizabeth.
My husband, Aaron Mays, is here, and my mom, Donna Vickery, and my aunt, Julie Young.
Y'all wave. Supervisor of the Year for 2010, Sergeant Michael Wragg. Some of the things I want to read about Mike here. He played a key role in the smooth transition of all the sergeant's position, supervising all of the criminal investigation section personnel until Sergeant Kemp was assigned to the capers position. Capers is crimes against persons. He performed his duties admirably, often completing additional requirements when he was tasked to do so. He was at the forefront of training 2 new supervisors in CID. Sergeant Wragg is detail-oriented and has developed several Excel spreadsheets to help increase efficiency in this criminal investigation section. He's also provided valuable insight to the workflow process group and is technically competent in the day-to-day operations of CIS as well as other operations within the department. And probably the best compliment I can offer about Sergeant Wragg is I often hear people, his peers, and some of those, lieutenants and above saying, in any given situation, how do we figure out what to do? And they often say, what would Sergeant Wragg do? And that's the model to go by. Great accomplishment, Mike. Congratulations. And then finally, Officer of the Year for 2010, Officer Say Gordon. Officer Gordon consistently demonstrates his devotion to the city, his love for his job, and integrity to do his job to the very best of his ability. Day after day, we see extraordinary efforts by Officer Gordon to assure he goes above and beyond on each and every call for service. Officer Gordon has taken the initiative to assume the added responsibility of being a crime scene officer, which requires him at times to put his own work aside so that he can go and help a fellow officer in processing a crime scene. Additionally, he is a translator on the shift, which is also a huge responsibility and extra workload for him on a daily basis. Officer Gordon reports for duty with an extraordinary energy and enthusiasm that always sets the tempo for the rest of the shift. Just within the last 6 months, he has successfully completed several work-related tasks and earned the respect of his peers by his selflessness, his skill, and his dedication. The following are some of the specific incidents that demonstrate why he is so deserving of the honor of Officer of the Year. August 1st, 2010, on this date, Officer Gordon, along with several other officers, were dispatched to a road rage incident which had evolved into an aggravated assault. After the commission of the assault, the suspect fled in his vehicle. Officers Montoya, Doherty, and McConnell arrived to render aid to the victim. Meanwhile, Officer Gordon and Copley located the suspect vehicle near Valley Parkway and Main Street. The officers all did a great job communicating with one another and both quickly and efficiently apprehended suspects. Let's see, let's read another one here. September 2nd, 2010, dispatch received a call that a taxi had just been stolen by 2 highly intoxicated individuals who had just been dropped off at the Sun Suites Hotel. As the taxi pulled up to drop off the subjects, they began to beat the driver and took the vehicle, fleeing southbound on the interstate. Officer Gordon was able to intercept that vehicle and both subjects inside. Both were arrested for robbery and an additional charge of DWI for the driver of the stolen taxi. And there's just a whole host of other things. I think we shouldn't read them all here. Needless to say, one skill that he probably will not tell you about is he's an accomplished pianist. And this past year, he gave a CD to many of us of Christmas music, which we played all throughout the holiday, say, and I got to tell you, I was really impressed with that. Obviously a man of many talents. Do you have anybody you'd like to introduce to us?
Sure. Bring this down a little bit. I was told not to forget my wife, who's here several times. Don't forget that. It's good. My wife and 5 of my 7 kids are here. Tristan, Alec, Isabel, Taj, and Liv. What's up, dude? He's out there. My in-laws, Tony and Kay Wright, and their daughter, Allie. So thank you. Appreciate everybody who I've been able to learn from, and my supervisors. It's just been a great experience. I love my job, and I love being a part of Lewisville. Thank you.